Good morning from the iconic Royal Scotsman train parked somewhere in the Highlands of Scotland. I'm just heading to breakfast on what's going to be our last full day on the train, and we're starting off with clay pigeon shooting on the Rymericus estate, home of the lady who wrote memoirs of a Highland lady back in the 18th century and which has remained in print ever since. It's a wonderful, vivid, lively description of life in the Highlands back then, and I've been reading it in preparation for our visit today. So I'm looking forward to enjoying some of the same Highland pursuits, though we're going to be doing clay pigeon shooting, and I'm not sure they had that back then. Now, there's a lot of clays to be destroyed this morning, so I need a hearty breakfast, tea, grapefruit juice, and of course, a bit of Highland porridge. Oh, thank you so much. This is exactly what I need to start the day. Yeah, my favourite bit. Well, Elizabeth Grant, who wrote the memoirs, did say a Highland breakfast was a mighty meal. I just had the porridge today, though, because yesterday's breakfast, if you watched yesterday's video, was indeed a mighty three-course meal, and I was slightly regretting it by the evening because I didn't stop eating all day and was pretty much struggling to move by the time I got into bed at night, so I'm trying to take it a bit easy today. It is an absolutely glorious day to go and explore the estate and to try the clay pigeon shooting, though to be honest, not only will no pigeons be harmed in this, I very much doubt any clays will be either. We've arrived on the Rymericus estate, which is in the heart of the Cairngorms National Park. As you can see, we're surrounded by the mountains. Elizabeth wrote, "The mountains were my delight. They were my friends, my playmates, my companions." So these are the mountains that she was looking at, but this was not the house that she grew up in. She grew up in the Dune, which is currently being restored. This is a shooting lodge that was added on the estate much later in Victorian and Edwardian times as the income from hunting and shooting on these lands became more and more invaluable. Shooting lodges like this were built all over the estate where hunting parties could come, rent the lodge and go hunting and shooting in this beautiful environment. Our group is being divided into people who want to do archery, fishing, clay pigeon shooting or estate tours. We've chosen clay pigeon shooting, but those who are going to do a spot of fishing will be coming down to this loch. As you can see, these lodges were always built in the areas with the best views and access to a stream or a loch for fishing and good woodland for shooting. And you can hear that some people are definitely shooting in the distance. You can hear the shots ringing out. These majestic pine forests would have been here in Elizabeth's day, and it's at that time that hunting and shooting became a huge part of the income for these estates. Looking at a view like this, you can understand why Elizabeth wrote at the very beginning of her memoir, "No change of circumstances can change the heart of a Highlander. Wherever he may have wandered, to his own hills he must return in his old age, if only to lay his bones beneath the heather." We've been given our safety equipment for clay pigeon shooting, though as Nick said, he'd have felt a little bit safer with a bulletproof vest.
So you move with the target, and as you move with him, you squeeze the trigger on the move.
Terrified at the thought of Nick holding a gun?
Not very reassured.
Look.
Hey.
Yeah.
Did I get that?
Yes, you got that.
Amazed.
You can keep one eye open, don't shut them both.
Alors, one.
5 pigeons live to
Going
fight
next.
another day. Elizabeth wrote, "In autumn, our remote glens were alive with the sounds of the shooting parties, the sounds of their guns echoing among our hills." And today is absolutely no exception. So I don't think that you can hear many clays exploding. I think we're all pretty much missing most of them as they soar past unscathed. Here goes Marie, and if these had been real pigeons, so far between us we would have 2 to eat tonight. So let's see if Marie can get another pigeon for the pot. You got one, didn't you, Nick?
Yeah. Look. That's the one.
Well done! 2 pigeons! Woohoo! And Philip has stepped up at the same time. Over here we're struggling to make 1 pigeon pie, and you've actually got a pigeon per person on the entire train. You got 5.
Yes. One down. Nice.
Tonight's meal is getting better and better. Of course, in Elizabeth's day, it's not clay pigeons they would have been shooting. She writes that the larder was kept well stocked during the season with grouse, black game, hare and rabbits. But now it's clay pigeons that we're shooting, a sport that was invented in the 1880s, much, I suspect, to the relief of pigeons. I think it must have been quite fun in the early days of clay pigeon shooting, though, because the first ones were actually glass, filled with feathers, so you'd get the satisfaction of seeing feathers fly through the air. Unfortunately, you'd probably also get little bits of glass flying through the air, which may not have been quite so great.
And now you're ready to get rid of all these pigeons in the towers.
They're safe. Each of the clay pigeons mimic the behaviour of a certain type of animal. So grouse or partridge, pheasant. This one mimics a rabbit, so it's going to be going along the ground. And Nick is going to have to try and follow it and shoot it on the bill.
You ready? Look for him, look in, and another one down. The rabbit hunter. The rabbits of central France are looking worried already. Stare at him. Rabbit down. Push. Smile.
Quite a few rabbits are in our pots. Well, we ended on a high. It turns out that rabbits are my speciality, which is a bit of a pity because I don't think I'd ever be able to bring myself to shoot an actual little fluffy rabbit. Though I must say, if we ever do have to hunt for our own food, with Nick and especially Philip and Marie on our team, we will have a very well larder at Lalande. Probably not so much if it was left to me because we don't actually have rabbits at Lalande, and it turns out that's the only thing I can shoot reliably. I love the whole coming back to the train and being given a little gift every time. Hot toddy today, much needed after all of that food we managed to get for the larder. We're back on the train just in time for lunch, and as Elizabeth said, when the shooting parties came home, tired but happy from their sport, there was always a good dinner awaiting them, and it's good to see that nothing has changed. I'm sure the wine was flowing there too. Today's lunch is a chicken, pomegranate, chicory and apple salad. And as we're eating, the train started moving and we're heading off to visit Glamis Castle. And now we have trifle and coffee, and I'm a little bit worried about not being fast asleep by the time we get to Glamis Castle. Well, here we are at Glamis Castle, possibly one of the most iconic of all Scottish castles, and certainly one famous around the world because Shakespeare set Macbeth here. It actually started life in the 11th century as a royal hunting lodge, and like many Scottish castles, it's been added on in nearly every century since. So what we see here today is an absolute mixture of architectural styles. The central tower at the heart of it dates from the 14th century, but in the 17th century it was transformed into a gentleman's country residence rather than the fortified tower that had been originally, though they definitely still kept it looking fortified because that was still fashionable and harked back to their history. And then, in the Victorian era, they went crazy. Battlements and turrets were added to give this sense of grandeur, because if there's one thing the Victorians aboard, it was a plain surface, and where they could add decoration, they always did. By the way, if you ever come to visit here, which you definitely should, then make sure you don't pronounce it Glamis Castle, even though that's how it's spelt. It's Glamis Castle, which comes from a pre-Celtic word meaning a fair, wide place. Now let's go in and have a look. Someone's getting excited. Well, that was marvellous, and now it's time to get back into the coach to go to the train for our final evening's entertainment. But before that, I have a massage booked. We're getting onto the train for the last night.
Champagne rosé!
I can't believe it's the end.
Not quite. Gala dinner tonight.
Gala dinner and a massage first for me, because you had yours the first day. I admit it feels strange walking down a train carriage in my bathrobe, but the spa car is right at the other end of the train. No one seems to be around, so hopefully I'll get away with it. I've arrived in the room and the treatment's about to start, but I wanted to show you the room first. It has that beautiful Dior toile on it. It's a Dior treatment, apparently. There is a high chance of me falling fast asleep during this treatment, and it's quite luxurious to think that after the massage, all I have to do is get changed into an evening dress for a gala dinner. Here we go. I'll see you on the other side of the massage. I am floating now. I have no idea how I'm supposed to have a dinner. I think I need a 10-minute lie down in the cabin before I get dressed for dinner. We've just got back to our cabin on the last night to find the bed all turned down and little presents left for us. There's a Royal Scotsman bookmark, which I know I'll be using a lot. I'm slightly addicted to bookmarks because I have so many books on the go. Railway rhymes. Upper Broughton, Widmerpool, Plumtree, Edwalton, Nottingham, change for Derby. That is delightful. That's delightful. Sometimes poetry writes itself. This is virtually verbatim from a 1938 Bradshaw's Railway Guide. Well, I'm thoroughly going to enjoy this. Ooh, an eye serum. Oh, I'll put that on tonight. You'll see a real transformation in the morning. I can't believe it's the last night.
I know. I've enjoyed it so much. He looks so beautiful.
Thank you. I don't want it to be the end. Tonight's canapes are smoked salmon and hot smoked salmon on blinis, and I'm having the best dry martini.
This evening for your starter wine, you have Chateauneuf de Pape. So most Chateauneuf de Papes are red, 90% of them. But yes. Oh, are they? Perfect. Do you like the white ones as well? It's your first time then? They're just as good, I swear. You'll get an apple, you'll get herbs. It's quite complex in its flavour. A mix of Grenache Blanc and Grenache Gris, but it's delicious, guys. Pairs really nicely with the scallops.
Nice. I'm so excited about scallops as well, with green beans and a champagne and caviar sauce. I think I'm in heaven right now. Should we just never leave the train? Stow away.
Bold, earthy, rounded tannins. Basically, nothing goes better with a steak than a bold red.
Now we have, of course, Aberdeen Angus beef, absolutely from this region, and pan-fried liver and spinach.
This is a dessert wine to go with your chocolate caramel. It's liquid gold. It's amazing.
And Nick is off. There's no stopping him. Nick, was that river dance? Or was it